But B, let's move on into our next topic, and we're looking at Louisville basketball. To be honest, I haven't remembered the last time we talked about Louisville basketball.
Maybe the last time was when we were talking about how Rick Pitino brought in the strippers.
That's, I think,
but he didn't know anything about it.
I
think
that's the last time we talked about Louisville basketball, and we have a reason to talk about them again because it looks like they are close to bringing in a new head coach, Chris Mack, the head coach of the number one seeded, not overall, but just number one seed, Xavier Musketeers, who lost to, I believe, Florida State in the second round of the tournament this year. He is set to almost become the coach of Louisville basketball. He's not the head coach yet, still hasn't made a decision, but basically what the question I want to ask to you and want to discuss about here is, if he does get hired by Louisville, is he the right guy for the Louisville Cardinals? What do you think?
I think he could be. I definitely think he could be. And the reason why I think that...
Really, anyone's a good candidate right now, following what they're coming out of?
No, I don't think so. I think you need the right guy to lead this program in the next direction, in a new direction, of trying to get away from what Louisville kind of was. I mean, people, you brought up Louisville, and people go, oh, great team, scum head coach. Yeah, Rick Pitino was good. He had a good kind of record behind him, but he didn't have he had a lot of baggage. He had a lot of baggage with him as a coach for his infidelities and his kind of scummy way of doing things, and we found out that, yes, indeed, he is a scumbag. But that's why they need the right guy. They can't just have another guy. They need to have the right guy. And Chris Mack, I think, would really be the right fit there because he runs a classy program. He runs a classy program. He's a successful coach in a conference where a lot of people, and I don't want to say this to be rude, right? People write off the Big East as, it's the Big East.
It ain't what it used to be.
And
it ain't what it used to be.
That's how I think that's how people talk about it. And yes, I know that Villanova comes from it. They were a number one seed. Xavier comes from it. They were a number one seed. We've had Butler come from it. You know, other teams like that. Other formidable teams. Yes, I do get that, but they're not in the same conversation as ACC. No. They're not in the same conversation as Big Ten. They're not. They're not. There's
a reason why I believe Notre Dame, Louisville, and Syracuse all left the Big East to go to the ACC. There's a reason for that. And that's because they are the ACC, and the Big East, like you said, now the Big East is kind of like, eh. The one thing I find interesting, though, about Chris Mack and his records at Xavier, so he's been there since 2009. The first 4 years were a part of the A10 conference, where he went to 2 Sweet 16s and 1 second-round appearance before that last year of the A10, they didn't make the tournament. The interesting thing ever since they joined the Big East that I find funny, the first year he finished 3rd in the conference, and they finished 10-8 with a conference record. 6th the next year, 9-9 in conference. 14-4 the next year, which was good for 2nd. 9-9 the next year, which was good for 7th. And then this past year, 15-3, which was good for 1st. The times where his Xavier Musketeers have finished 1, 2, or 3 in the Big East, they've gotten bounced out in the first 4, the second round, and the second round. When they were 6th and 7th in the Big East, Sweet 16 and Elite 8. So take that with what you want, like lower seed, like lower record, lower seed that you're coming into it. But I find that funny looking at it as, when you finished 1st or 2nd in your conference, you're getting bounced in the 1st and 2nd round, whereas when you're not Sweet 16, Elite 8, Chris Mack, though, is that coach to where eventually, like every time we talk about like which lower coach is going to make the jump to the Power 5, what we talk about in football, Chris Mack is always that name I think of, where it's like, okay, when is he going to leave Xavier to go somewhere else, whether it be a Big Ten, whether it be a Pac-12, an ACC, a Big 12? And for me, this is this could be a perfect job for Chris Mack because he can come in, he can set his tone right away because obviously Louisville wants to quickly swerve out of what they're in right now. They want to change the culture fast and get Louisville back on the right track. But he can come in, set his culture, set his team, basically, his atmosphere, and Louisville's a program to where kids want to play for it. Now, the question that'll have to be answered after he gets there, if he chooses to go there, is were kids going to Louisville because of Louisville, or were kids going to Louisville because they wanted to play for Rick Pitino? That's the thing that I think is going to be interesting. Not that he's not going to be able to recruit kids, because there's a recruiting pool in Kansas. Louisville's always been a team that when they're good in the ACC, they can compete with anybody. Plus, you got that rivalry against the Big Blue Nation with the Kentucky Wildcats. But will we see a dip in Louisville recruits because it's like, you know what? I wasn't coming to play for Louisville. I was coming to play for Rick Pitino because that's who I wanted to play for.
Well, no, I think if Louisville's able to hire the right person, let's say, for instance, they do end up hiring Chris Mack, you want to play for a winner.
Yeah.
Chris Mack is a clear winner. He's never, in any of his seasons with Xavier, had under a 500 winning percentage.
The close was 17 and 14.
17 and 14, but he's never had under that. And that was in his early years, 2012,
that was
2013.
The 10 years.
So I think that guys want to play for winners. You always do. You always want to play for a winning coach that has a good program and runs a good program. Guys would go there. Guys would go there and to play for someone who's not only had a winning program and had a lot of wins, but has seen a lot of success in the tournament, because that's the biggest thing for Louisville. They want to get back to the tournament. They haven't been there. They have not been there in a couple of years.
Well, they've
whether
had
it's because they I would say whether it's because they didn't make it or they had a postseason ban. That's what Louisville wants to get back to doing. And I think that Chris Mack would be a perfect candidate to be able to go to Louisville and do that. And now some people, may say, and some Xavier fans may say, well, what about his loyalty? What about his loyalty to Xavier? He's been there forever. If he stays at Xavier, is he going to be comfortable? Yes, he is. Salary-wise, yes, he is. He's going to start making about $3 million, I think, next season. He's going to be comfortable. Is he going to have good teams? Yes, he is. Is he most likely going to be at the top of the Big East every year? Most likely.
And he's not going to get fired.
And he's not going to get fired. Absolutely not. You've got that job for a long time. Are you going to be comfortable? Are you going to be good? Yes. But are you going to feel like you could do more? Are you going to feel like you could go to Louisville, win a national championship with them before you ever might be able to with Xavier? Maybe. And for all those people that would say, well, what about his loyalty? Loyalty and fondness for a team, those are hard emotions. Ambition and winning are not emotions. It comes from the head. You have an ambition. You have a sense of wanting to win that's coming from your head. That's coming from your thinking. And no coach ever won a championship using their heart. That does not happen. So I think Chris Mack, he certainly would have a decision to make, but I think that if he wants to be able to go to a school to build a program that's going to get to the tournament and win a national championship, that's going to Louisville. If you want to have a program that's going to win a lot of games, be competitive, most likely be a 1, 2, or 3 seed in the tournament, and go Sweet 16, Elite 8, then you stay. You stay with Xavier. But if you want a little bit more, I think you go with Louisville.
Well, and the one thing that confuses me right now is, so the one point I want to hit on is your Louisville getting back to the tournament, because I was looking on ESPN and their tournament history. The furthest date that they have back is 2008, and I'm like, Louisville's been to the tournament like in 07 and such. Yeah, they have. They've been to, so consistently under Pitino. Pitino got there in 01. They were part of the CUSA, made it to the NCAA tournament 3 times. Consistently, though, I'm going to start with the 07 season, where they made the round of 32, then Elite 8, then 64-64, which is the first round, then the vacated ones were Final Four, National Champion, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and then the 1 year where they were ineligible before going to the round of 32 and losing to Michigan in 2017. The thing Chris Mack would bring, and this would make him, to me, the right guy for Louisville, is you'd be able to make the tournament. Because not only are you Louisville, not only do you play for the ACC, if you just have a winning record and finish in the top, 7 or 8 in the ACC, the worst you can do is be like Syracuse and be a play-in winner. But look at what Syracuse was able to do. They almost beat Duke and went back to the Elite Eight. Like, they almost made a run like they made when we got to see them live, when they beat, who was it? They beat Gonzaga in the game we saw, and then that Elite Eight game we weren't able to see, they played, I think it was Virginia, because Virginia beat Iowa State that year at the UC. Louisville is a team that wants to go back. Their fan base expects to go back to the tournament each and every year. Chris Mack, you're right, could be that guy. The thing that I look at, though, is, A, does he want to leave Xavier? That's a thing where, last year we talked about the guy from Winthrop, where he was like, I'm going to take this job, but then was like, no, I'm not going to take that job. I'm going to stay here. I really want to stay here. First, the question is, does Chris Mack want to leave? Second, the question is Louisville the job he wants to leave for? Because it could be, I want to leave, just not for you. Basically, in that situation, it's like, I want to take a step up. I don't want to go into that situation. I'll stay here at Xavier. That's the second part. Is Louisville the job he wants to go to? And then number 3 is, what is he going to be able to do once he's at Louisville? And to me, as long as he can continue to bring in the players that Louisville has been able to bring in, I know that a lot of people are going, what prostitutes like Rick Pitino did, or with strippers. That's not going to happen under Chris Mack. But if he's able to bring in players, Louisville will be competitive under him and will be a tournament threat. I'll say tournament threat each and every year with him, and could be a top seed in the tournament each year with him. Well,
Chris Mack, and I want to go to some quotes that he said last year when they were Elite Eight in the tournament. And he said, quote, "I'm excited about the future of our program and proud to be the head coach of my alma mater." So that's a big thing. That being his, with Xavier being his alma mater,
he could want to stay there for life.
You have a huge attachment right there. He continues, quote, "Xavier is a special place. It is especially gratifying to receive the support from the entire Xavier community in my hometown of Cincinnati. We have lofty goals for our basketball program, and that ongoing support will be a big key to reaching our goals," end quote. It would be very difficult, I think, for him. It would be no easy decision, and it's no Louisville, big time school, ACC, huge. I'm going there. That's easy. No, it would be leaving your alma mater. It would be leaving your hometown. It would be leaving a team that you have been with for a long time and you're locked in to be with for a continuous long time through 2022, 2023.
You're uprooting your family.
You are doing that. Is that part of the job in the business? Yes, it is. But I think that it's much more difficult than just saying, well, look at all these things that Louisville could offer. Look at all this exposure. Look at it's at a different level. Yes, but you're still working. You're in the midst of trying to take Xavier to the next level. You're in the midst of trying to take Xavier to Villanova status. I mean, Villanova isn't just, they're a Big East team. Villanova's they could go to the tournament every year and win it team. Yeah. And that's where Chris Mack's trying to take him. And by going to Louisville, are you starting over? You are, but you're not. Because it's Louisville, you're not going to be It's not like when we talked about a week ago when we talked about from Indiana. Help me out here.
You're talking about Tom Crean.
Tom Crean. He's not you're not going to a Georgia and having to try and you're good-ish. You're not below 500.
They're going to have to build up.
They're going to have to build some stuff up. I still think that he'll be building up quickly because of who he is and the success he's had, but you're Louisville. Yeah. Louisville and Georgia. There's no contest.
You're a basketball powerhouse.
You are. You absolutely are. And people want to play for you. One, because you're Louisville. That's easy enough. Two, because you're Chris Mack, and look at what you did over here with Xavier. And
think about what you can do.
Look about what you could do with Louisville, given all the talent that you have. I mean, that's just a huge pool of talent wanting to come to Louisville for Louisville, and then wanting to come to Louisville for Chris Mack and his success and his record of success. Again, not only in the regular season but in the tournament. I think that's a huge thing, but it is going to be difficult. Anyone who would say that that's an easy decision, I would certainly go with Louisville. Well, they've got to be crazy because it's difficult. It's difficult because you want to build something. Anywhere you go, in any career, any profession you go, you want to build something. You want to be able to see. You want to see the fruits of that, and he's wanting to. He's got to want to see it at Xavier.
Let's go on that, because for me right now, and I don't know Chris Mack. I'm not in his head. I don't talk to him every day, although I'd love to. If I am going to guesstimate, put myself into the shoes of myself if I was Chris Mack, it'd be a 50-50 decision for me. 50-50 right down the line, because I'll let you into a little personal life for me. When I was getting my teaching license here in Illinois, I interviewed for a job at my alma mater where I went to high school. If I would have got that job, Brandon, would have never wanted to leave. I would have been happy staying there the rest of my life. So for me to take that situation, put it into this situation, if it was me, 50-50 right down the line, to where it would be a hard, I want to stay at Cincinnati. I want to make, Xavier in Cincinnati. I know Xavier fans are like, what are you talking about, Ricky? We hate Cincinnati. But Xavier in Cincinnati, I want to stay here with Xavier. I want to make this program all that it can be, because we are not done yet. Because that's another thing. If he leaves, the kids that were there that came for him, wait a second. Our goal ain't done. Our goal would be like Villanova to win a national championship. We aren't done. And you're abandoning on that? You're abandoning us on that to go to Louisville? That's really, like, not saying every player would be like that, but that's what I would feel if I was a player, to where it's like, oh, I see how it is. You want to go coach the big dogs, but don't want to stay here with us and take us to the national championship. And for Chris Mack, if I was him, it'd be 50-50. I'd want to stay at my alma mater, because you got to love the place, to be there, to graduate from there, to basically be Xavier. However, it would be calling like, ooh, like the ACC, that next step. Career-wise, this would be a big career move for me. That's why for me, 50-50. If you were Chris Mack, what would the percentages be for you? And what do you think the percentages are for Chris Mack staying or going?
Well, I think too is that it's about your family. I mean, when you're at this point, you've got a wife, you've got kids, you have to be looking out for your family and setting up your family well, and in the best position.
And now your kids have called home.
But at the same time, if Louisville's calling saying, "Hey, we're going to give you a $30 million contract over 5 or 6 years," that's real difficult to say no to. Even when you're getting a good contract at Xavier and you've just been extended.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be getting a real good contract over with Louisville. Yeah, it's got to be an incredibly difficult decision for Chris Mack. If I'm Chris Mack, I'm probably leaning 60-40. And
in favor of,
and I was going to get to that.
Okay.
And I'm probably leaning the 60-40 truly in favor of Xavier.
In the biz, we call that a tease, by the way. In the biz, we call you teased us there by saying 60-40 and then giving us that pause.
I'm probably leaning the 60-40 with the 60 going towards Xavier because I think you're on the cusp. And yes, you get bounced this season earlier than you would have liked to by Florida State, but Florida State turns out to be a pretty legitimate threat in the tournament, in an Elite Eight team. But it's like, especially with how things went down this season, we're not done yet. We are not done yet. That is not how I want things to end in my Xavier coaching career.
Now, if it was like another Elite Eight bounce, or like, oh, we got to the Final Four and got bounced, that might have been a different thing, where it's like, If you go to the Final Four, then it's like, okay, I can have a sense of we've accomplished something. Like that I can leave and not feel like I'm abandoning. Whereas another Elite Eight is like, okay, maybe we've hit the plateau. Maybe me at Xavier, I've hit the plateau, and this is where I'm going to be able to hit. This is my ceiling, because the ceiling is the roof at Xavier. Whereas you get bounced in the second round, it's like, whoa, 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 I know we can get a lot farther than this. And I might not be happy leaving because we got bounced in the second round.
Yeah, it's a I mean, as we've been saying, it's a tough decision, especially because of everything that Mack has, especially because of Xavier being the alma mater, especially because Cincinnati being the hometown. It's not like he grew up in Denver and, now he's just, he's here on, this is his third coaching stint and all this stuff. That is not the case. He has got roots here. He has got a lot of roots here. And to just leave those behind in the rearview mirror, knowing that you're probably not going to be going back there to be coaching again, and you've got Louisville, looking forward. That is not as easy as many people probably think it would be.
And the one thing I find interesting is, before we close this segment out, is there's an article on ESPN that Louisville removed the interim tag from their AD Vice Tyra. Tyra? Is I'm saying that right? Tyra? Tyra.
I have no idea who
Basically,
their AD is.
Their interim AD of Vince Tyra, hope I'm saying that right, they pulled the interim tag off of him, and he is now the AD moving forward for Louisville. So they have their AD.
Well, then I was going to say, I think that we're very, very quickly going to be seeing a new head coach there, and probably I'm thinking within the next
Chris
week.
Mack?
Within the next week, we'll be seeing a new coach.
This is what you guys come in. Let us know, or this is where you guys. This is what you guys come in. No, this is where you guys come in. Let us know down below. Will Chris Mack be the next coach of Louisville basketball? If not, who will be the next coach of the Cardinals? Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section.